We're back with Robert Amsterdam. He was kind enough to give us some time, busy in London. It's evening there, I suppose, but thank you, Robert, for coming on.
Thank you so much for having us.
I wanted to get you because there's been a lot happening. First, I saw your interview with Tucker, which was on Armenia primarily, which was fantastic. Let's start there. Karpatyan, how do you say his name? Karpatyan is still in jail, correct?
Karapetyan is still in jail, Samuel Karapetyan. And, I want to say, Todd, I was admitted to the bar of Armenia, and I was able to defend him in court, my church, a court. And it was profoundly moving. Very often when I'm in these foreign courts, I'm an observer, but I have to thank my brothers and sisters of the bar in Armenia for allowing me to plead the case with them, and also allowing me to go to prison and sit in prison with him.
Wow.
And let me tell you, a very brave, very dedicated Christian, a man jailed for his philanthropic activities, for his commitment to Jesus Christ, quite honestly, and for the fact that commitment and the sincerity with which he operates, and the incredible loyalty of so many in Armenia to him, has the very insecure present prime minister jailing him for absolutely no reason.
So let's talk about Pashinyan. He's pushing, peace, 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 but to get there, Armenia seems to have to accept destruction of the church and destruction maybe of their history and sovereignty. And
no, it's insanity. He's basically trying to take surrender and turn it into peace. It's an obscenity in terms of the church. You have here a secular individual with very little understanding of this cradle of Christ's work, talking about actually dismissing the leader of the church, the Catholicos, and replacing him with someone that he and a small group of his allies would appoint, which violates the very premise of the Apostolic Church in Armenia.
So, but he read Bible quotes or from memory or at the prayer breakfast. So he's for real, right?
Don't even get me started about a prayer breakfast. Everybody who attended there, unless they went to stand outside the prison, should be ashamed of themselves. We have archbishops and other members of the clergy jailed. We have Christians jailed for their beliefs in Armenia. And these people go to a prayer breakfast, which I've called a reputation laundering exercise. It's absolutely shameful.
I agree. And we called out Pastor Joel Tinney, who put out kind of a tortured treatise on how it was okay to support what Pashinyan's doing because he read a Bible verse and everything's going to be great. Meanwhile, they're rotting in prison in Baku. And how many priests are jailed in Armenia? A couple dozen at this point?
I would say to you, there are martyrs in Baku, absolutely. But Pashinyan is starting, and of course, Baku, the government and the people there are largely Muslim. But in Armenia, the church represents 95% of the population, and you have Christians being persecuted there.
Yeah. How many priests have been arrested at this point?
I don't have the full total. I know there's at least 2, if not more, archbishops, and there are more than a dozen, I believe, other clergy and followers of one of the archbishops who have been jailed. I think a number were released actually today in Armenia. But it's completely outrageous that they would hold a prayer breakfast.
Yeah.
In fairness, that's like calling a B'nai B'rith meeting for Berlin in 1939. It's obscene.
Yeah. There is also talk of them, and I'll just say seizing Echmiadzin, which is the holy seat of the church in Armenia. It's the first Christian cathedral. Is there any update on that? I say, seize. I'm not really sure what they're looking to do, but have you looked into that?
Yes, and in fact, I was there, not at the time, but shortly thereafter. And what stopped them was a mass uprising by the people,
Hmm.
dedicated church followers. So I believe one of the reasons Samuel Karapetian continues to languish in jail is because of his popularity. When I was in court, we were hearing thousands of people chanting outside. I
Wow.
mean, Mr. Pashinyan is not a very popular man, and as a result of his persecution of leading Christians, he's even less popular today.
So your client is a big benefactor to Armenia.
The,
Has
the,
given. Yeah.
absolutely, and I can only say that um, the jailing is on such ridiculous and spurious charges
Hmm.
that when I was cross-examining the witnesses in court, I mean, it was just an embarrassment. And to show you how embarrassing it is, there was a hearing this week. I was unable to attend, but what happened was there was a newspaper that's close to the prime minister, and they announced the verdict a day before the verdict came out. And I tweeted it a day before the verdict
Wow.
came out,
Wow.
and it's there for everyone to see. So it's a demonstration that Pashinyan is moving closer to dictatorship, and now what he's doing is he's not only abusing the system, but he's proudly demonstrating to the world how abusive and intolerant of any form of political opposition.
Your government doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
He is, and it is a warning to the United States and the Trump administration to absolutely ensure that they assist the people of Armenia in protecting children of Christ who are being persecuted.
Well, I was going to ask you about Trump. I mean, I think Trump Jr., Don Jr., was going to go to Armenia, and then a lot
He's
of this.
canceled. He canceled.
Yes, because of the bad press with Pashinyan, and but I guess the question is Trump aware, as far as you know, of what's happening in Armenia for real?
Look, honestly, Donald doesn't talk to me as often as he used to,
Hmm.
so I can't tell you, and I'm being facetious. I have
Hmm.
no idea, but I know that there are people in the administration who are aware.
Yeah. Okay. Good enough. I met you because of what's happening in Ukraine, and it's very similar to what's happening in Armenia, or vice versa. Do you have an update on the Ukrainian Orthodox Church?
Yes, and again, I want to acknowledge and thank you. You are one of the few journalists who have allowed me to speak. We are, those of us who have been critical of the Ukrainian junta, can't really call it a government because it's not constitutional at this point. Those of us who have been critical have been subject to, awful abuse as being agents of Russia. And that recently came out in an article that was published on The Hill
Hmm.
by a reporter named Laura Kelly, and I use the word reporter loosely, who never bothered to contact me and tried to portray our church, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, as somehow a pro war Russian Orthodox Church. And I mean, it was just, I won't get into all the details of the article. My rebuttal to the article is being released tomorrow on my X site. But I would just say to you that it was placed by a member of Congress who I think leaked it, but this member might as well be working for the SBU, the Ukrainian
Yes.
secret police, because
Right.
he's
Yeah.
he's basically, they've got what we call Ukraine brain. They cannot think outside the box. They cannot acknowledge that those who present themselves as a government in Ukraine have committed crimes against humanity in their persecution of the church. And I mean literal crimes against humanity that might find them in The Hague. And they just will not listen to reason. Individuals such as myself who are banned from Russia, who have fought the Putin regime, we are condemned as Russian agents because we are supporting in that case, a 1,000-year-old independent church.
Yes. So I won't put words in your mouth, but I think Joe Wilson is one of the congressmen who's been very vocal on this, and I found it offensive because I have I have family who go to the Russian Orthodox Church in America, and he was calling everybody in that church, an intelligence operation. I found that just really horrific.
Listen,
I know
I
that's
will.
not your client, but go ahead.
I will tell you. Firstly, I will never speak ill of any church.
Mm-hmm.
It is not my place to speak ill of any church. I may disagree with some of the actions of Patriarch Kirill,
Mm-hmm.
but I am not going to ever attack people of faith in whatever religion, be
Yeah.
that Judaism, Islam, Christianity. I'm not here to be judging people of faith. And I am certainly not going to defame the fastest growing church in the United States, which is what Joe Wilson has managed to put not only his hand and his foot, but his entire body through his mouth in what he's done this week. He's condemned the fastest growing church in America to essentially be a bunch of Putin agents.
Yeah, it was really not cool. So yeah, there was a huge pushback, and I don't think he expected that. But I think it's because you and others are putting pressure in Congress to actually look at what's going on in Ukraine. To me, that's what his reaction was against. Did you see the letter that was? I don't know if you had anything to do with that. 2 members of Congress saying what's happening to the Ukrainian Orthodox Church is not okay.
Yeah, and obviously, we've been saying it for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, one of my first meetings with his staff. And I'm a young lawyer. I've only been practicing for 45 years. I have never been treated so rudely.
Wow.
And that includes meetings when I was fighting in Russia for the survival of political prisoners. I had a better reception in Russian offices than I had in the office of this particular congressman,
Wow.
whose staff wouldn't even let me speak. It got to the point where at the end of the meeting, I was actually suspecting that one of the staff was being paid by the Ukrainians. I mean, this Ukraine brain is a real disease. And when you go to prayer breakfasts in Washington, you often see the whole pro-Ukrainian contingent out, including last year, a bunch of Ukrainian army officials who walked around with the state church representatives.
Yeah.
As if they're somehow victims. These people, many of their colleagues were thugs, beating up parishioners of the UOC and stealing churches.
Anything else, Bob, you want to get out? I appreciate your time, but I just wanted to get updates on those 2 situations, but maybe you have
No, that's fine. I'm deeply grateful to you, Todd, and let's stay in close touch.
Okay, Bob. Thanks. Take care. Enjoy the
Thank
weekend.
you. Bye-bye.